Hey, it's Marlon here from marlonmcpherson.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how I've put together this clean and beautiful waiting list / survey form inside WordPress using FluentForms. Now, most people create a simple form that captures the name and email address, and that's where they stop. However, a better way to do this is to ask some questions in a survey once you've captured the details. This way you can validate whether or not there's demand for the service or product that you're about to create, or at least you can get some feedback from your ideal customers and clients so you know exactly what to create that will be effective with helping them with their needs. So let me walk you through the form to show you exactly what's going on here. As you can see, it's a multi-step form, and this breaks it up into chunks, so it's like more manageable for someone to fill in. To get this option for multi-step, you need to have FluentForms Pro, so make sure you grab that. I'll leave links to any resources that I've mentioned in the description, so do check those out. So here you capture the name and email address right here on this page. You can decide to put a phone number as well if you prefer. Obviously you can see the progress bar here, and once you've filled in the information you can go ahead and click next, and that's going to take you to the next stage. Now, I don't have this as mandatory right now for testing so that I don't have to keep filling in the details, but you would want to make sure you switch on these fields as mandatory because you need to capture the details. So I'm going to go ahead and click next without entering anything here. So on this next step, I'm asking what's their biggest struggle. So you can ask any manner of questions depending on what your product or service is going to be, but in this case a general question you could ask is what their biggest struggle is, and you want to give them some options. Now, as you can see, there are some buttons here, and these are not standard in FluentForms. I've actually had to do some custom design, which I'll go through in a second to explain how I've got to this. So here, someone just needs to click, and as you can see, it highlights whichever option that they've clicked, and they can go ahead and click next. And you can see here, I've got another question, but the layout is very different as well. It's radio buttons, but as you can see, it's horizontal. I wanted it to be this way as well. So this is more like a scoring scale system that you can score out of 10. How urgent it is in this case for you to solve the problem. So 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest urgency. Someone can click and then go through, and then again they're greeted with the same format as before with the buttons. In this case, I'm asking what's their preferred solution, and they can go ahead and click what they need. And then the last question I'm asking is what their budget range is, and let's click on this one here, and then we'll click on next. And this is a great thing to have as well, to give them some free rein to give you additional feedback or any information that they have. So you want to ask them, is there anything else that they'd like to mention, and they can put it in here, and then go ahead and send the form. Now, I'm not going to submit this form. All that's going to happen is going to put up a message to say that the form's been submitted. Now, FluentForm is feature packed, but it's typically very bland in terms of how it's put together. And one of the things I wanted for this is to make sure that it looks very aesthetically pleasing and nice and slick. So what I've had to do was some custom design on the back end of it to get it to this stage. Now, if I come over here to the editor, what you'll see here, this is how the layout is. So you can see this is the default layout here, where we've got all radio buttons with the circle, and you just got to click one of them to basically, obviously I can't click it here because it's not in the preview mode, but you can see everything normally stacks vertically when it comes to radio buttons. And I wanted something a bit different and something a little bit nicer. So what I've had to do to create the button styles and the layouts that you've seen me do is to actually add CSS code. Now, I'm not a CSS professional. I don't do a lot of coding, but I know enough to make some tweaks here and there. So what I ended up doing was to use the AI feature, which is a brand new feature that I've discovered inside FluentForms that lets you create forms based on a prompt. Now, it's not perfect. It gets you the basic form based on what you've put in, but you still have to go in and do some tweaks. And I've had to go through several iterations of this to get things to where I needed to get it to. If you go to new form, over here, for example, I'll just show you where that option is this one here. If you just click on that, you can tell it what sort of form you're creating and put some of the questions you want to add to the form, and essentially it would attempt to create a form for you. Now, I've had to do this several times because once you've created that form with the AI, you cannot go back in, as far as I can tell, and re-prompt it to say change this or do something slightly different. So I've had to start from scratch every single time. Now, really and truly, what it's doing is it's structuring the form in the order of the different elements that you need. I'm not going to create a new form now. I'm just going to pop back into that waiting list. As you can see, I have several here that I've created. So with the AI tool, what it's doing is it's adding the relevant elements in, and then I gave it some specific instructions about the styling, and it gave me a basic rendition of that. Now, the way it's doing that is by adding some CSS. So if I go to the correct tab here, if I go to the settings and integrations and come down to custom CSS, you'll see the CSS that I've ended up with in the end. I got the basic customization done with the AI tool built in, and then I used my own knowledge and some other tools to make some additional tweaks and to get things looking the way I wanted it. So this is what the CSS looks like here. I will make the CSS code available in the link in the description. There'll be resource links, and also if you're looking to build this out for yourself and you don't want to go through the whole process of building it from scratch, I'm going to make the entire form available for you to download and import into FluentForms so you can have it up and running and just tweak it. And of course, I will give you instructions on how to do that. Now, of course, you can preview the design over here, which is what I showed you before. And to publish the form, you can then use that short code there and put it on any page inside WordPress, or you can use the built-in landing page feature inside FluentForms. To get to that, you just need to come to the settings and integrations and come to where it says landing page. I'm not going to click on it because I've already done that. This is what it looks like if you were to create a landing page. Obviously, you need to customize it to your needs by putting the text there to say that it's a waiting list and what you need to put on there, or you can create a separate page in WordPress as your landing page and then embed it in there like I've said to you. But that's beyond the scope of this video, so I'm not going to go through that. Now, just a few tips for you when you're creating a waiting list. First of all, you don't want to have too many questions that you're asking in the survey. You just need 3 to 4 questions that are relevant to what you're looking to do, and make sure that what you're asking is relevant to the feedback that you want from your potential client. That way they don't drop off. Obviously, the longer the form, the more likely someone's not going to fill it in. So you want to make sure you keep it as short as possible. The next tip that I've got for you is to make sure you connect this to a CRM. So then when someone submits the form, their information gets captured and you add the relevant tags and so on, so you can stay organized, and it's easy for you to then communicate later because you have them on that email list and not just in the form submissions for FluentForms. For me, I use Fluent CRM, so this integrates perfectly. It's made by the same people, so everything is just seamless. The third tip I've got for you is to pay attention to the submissions, and you want to reach out to the people that are giving you a lot of information. You want to reach out to those people and ideally get them on a call, because they're the ones that's going to help you shape the outcome of what you create, and ultimately they're going to want to buy what you provide because you're using their feedback to help you create it. Once you've gotten this all set up, you're going to want to make sure that you promote the form so you can maximize the number of signups you get, so that you can have a significant number of people on your email list when you're ready to launch your product or service. To help you with strategy, I'm going to leave a link to a video in the description or showing on screen that you can watch next. And also, if you've got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below and I'll answer them to the best of my ability. Also, check out the resource links in the description, and I'll catch you in the next video.